What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Culture Decides. This is episode 9. I'm your host, Lee, and we are getting back into it, y'all. I hope y'all been doing good since I last chatted with you all. And honestly, as the weather's getting nice, I'm really looking forward to this summer. We got a lot of new music that's gonna come out. R&B is heating up. Kendrick's on tour. I'm gonna go see him, y'all. I finally got my tickets. So I'm excited. I'm super excited about that. Like it's a lot to look forward to, honestly, and like my birthday coming up too. So planning for that. Y'all hit me up actually and let me know what y'all looking forward to this year. I want to hear whether it's something musically like projects, tours, or collabs, or just something you about to do. Hit that link in the bio. Hit that link in the description that says let me know your thoughts and let me know what you're looking forward to. I want to hear. I want to chat with y'all. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is another episode where I'm gonna talk my shit about the music that's came out, good things, bad things, all the good things, all everything in between. So, for this episode, of course, you got the agenda. I'm gonna talk through some news. I will talk y'all through what's on repeat, and then I'll get into some projects that I've been listening to. Two EPs and one album. The first one will be an R&B album, actually. Sorry, it will be an R&B EP by Alex Isley, which is the daughter of one of the Isley brothers. And then another project will be Westside Gunn. He actually just dropped an EP as well. And then I'll finish it up with an album review for Davido. So really excited to hop into that with you all and like y'all know my thoughts. Trying to mix it up. Got the R&B in there, the hip hop in there, and then some Afro beats. I told you I love dancehall. I love Afro beats too, and I want to give y'all an even spread of just like what's on my playlist, and hopefully y'all enjoy the same things, or you can just find like the part that you fuck with the most, honestly. So before we get into all that good stuff, just want to remind y'all I am taking music submissions. So that is also available in the description box of this episode. And honestly, you just fill that out. Takes less than 5 minutes just so I can know a little bit about you and your music and then potentially review it on an upcoming episode. You know what I'm saying? Just want to spread y'all music and what y'all do with the culture. So don't be shy. Fill that out. Hit me up if you got questions. DM me on Instagram. And stay connected, and we could just have a conversation, have a platform where like I could talk to y'all about music I'm listening to and talk to y'all about some of the work that y'all do too. Y'all are talented people. Some of y'all make music, some of y'all do other things, but like I said, the culture decides. This is the platform for us, right? So, yeah, I had to make sure I remind y'all about that. And also, of course, make sure you follow this episode on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure to download this episode as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you. One last thing before I get into the news and all that other good stuff. If there's anything that y'all want to share with me outside of like what y'all looking forward to this year, like your thoughts on this episode or any of the music that I'm reviewing, or any projects that you potentially would like to hear me review, even if it's something that came out like even a few years ago, you just want to hear like, yo, what was your thoughts on like Travis Scott's debut album or whatever the case is. I'm down to do that. I'm down to have a conversation even about it. DM me, hit that link in the bio, let me know how you feel and what you're looking forward to hearing. And I want y'all to stay tuned because I told y'all last time that surprise is coming up. It's coming up real soon. I promise. In a couple weeks, y'all will see what I have been trying to like tease and keep y'all on y'all toes about, right? So I'm hopping to some news now. So I got for y'all 6 things to talk about. You know, I have 5. I have 6 now. I'm progressing. Max, I'll keep it at every y'all. It's like 10, all right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, a couple different things. You know, I always sprinkle in the UMG updates for y'all, of course, because that's just the ongoing thing that's being talked about right now. Last year was Young Thug. This time around, now that I'm on the podcast, is freaking Drake in this UMG situation. It would be Drake versus Kendrick, but you know, he ain't trying to really say his name like that. You know, he trying to hide behind the wall with the label, which I'll dive into later. But to kick it off into the news, you know, Coachella just had their 2 weekends of fun, and honestly, it looked really lit. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really always into like Coachella and stuff. Obviously, like when certain artists will pop up, I'll take interest in it, of course. And there was a few like great moments for a lot of different artists, like Frank Ocean, and a lot of different people just blew up after like blew up around those moments of just having their Coachella performance. But I feel like this year, uh, you know, there were some highlight performances for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, I feel like they could do a lot more when it comes to the lineup and just include some more diverse artists, you know what I'm saying, across different genres. But that's how I feel about it. But this year, you know, I do feel as though it looked better. I love some of the performances across like hip hop, R&B, pop, even African music and Afro beats and all that good stuff. But, you know, the ones that stuck out to me, like T-Pain had his first Coachella performance ever, and he was feeling himself. You know what I'm saying? He was spinning on that stage. I don't know what song he I don't know why he felt the need to do that, but he was just he was just feeling the vibe. You know what I'm saying? He was at Coachella, and you know apparently just been waiting all his career to have a moment like that. So really excited to just see T-Pain like the soaking in what he the love, you know what I'm saying? He should feel accomplished. I mean, people were saying that obvious that people weren't really passing the vibe check really like that in the crowd, but other than that, you know, I hope that it does help push him into the households of other people, you know what I'm saying? And just keep him as a household name and as he continues to get back into his craft and things like that, you know, just really put him out there. So yeah, T-Pain was out there, Tyler was out there doing how, you know, saying her Afro pop vibes, you know what I'm saying? She definitely put on a great performance, and it's great to see that, you know, she recovered from her back injury. Now, Ray was also out there, another talented African star. And then, you know, Megan Victoria Monet was out there stirring up some dating rumors with their grinding on stage. You know, they had a lot of fun based off of some of the videos that was going out there, but you know, definitely was a great performance. I ain't got too much to say about that. And Travis Scott, he went crazy as usual. You know, Travis Scott's always going to give you the vibes you need for a festival, and he did that. I mean, him himself, he can have a whole day of just going crazy. But yeah, that is number one. Now on to number two. Now I will say this portion of the news, it's a bit related to like TDE, Kendrick, and that side of things, and then of course I'll get into the Drake UMG things. But I'm sorry, y'all. They just been making a lot of noise, so that's why I've been talking about them to y'all a lot. They just been doing a fucking thing, and you know, I personally have just been like, I've always fucked with Kendrick music, but I feel like I've been just diving into these other artists, and Doechii has been another one on my list. And you know, J Rock, I always fuck with him. So all these other people like SZA, everyone, you know, I've always like appreciated their music. So it's great to see them as a whole do really well. And what's number two on the list is that TDE actually got to curate the soundtrack for season 6 of NBA 2K25, and it features a few of their, music collective like J Rock, SZA, Absol, Doechii. A few of them have, some of their great hits on the soundtrack for this season. So I thought that was pretty fucking fire, and like just goes to show you, like, I feel like the label has been just making the right move with their artists. So when people say shit like industry plants, like Doechii's not an industry plant. The label's just taking care of her and their other artists. Of course, there's other artists that I feel like could be more in the limelight as well, but they're getting there. You know what I'm saying? They getting there. Now, number three, speaking of TDE members, Doechii actually dropped a music video for Anxiety. I honestly did love her cover for that. People were hating on it. This fucking streamer, I be calling him QVC, but his name is XQC, the guy that, Drake went on his stream before. So he was talking shit about it, and it was just like, bro, this is why we don't want y'all talking about the culture. Y'all talking about, oh, why does it sound like this and not say, they don't understand mixtape culture and all that shit. So it was just annoying hearing him talk shit about it. But some things that I thought were really cool about the video, of course, she made some nods to Gaye, somebody that made the song that she sampled, somebody that I used to know, and some other pop cultural references. She actually had her own twin sisters inside of the music video, which was pretty cool. She referenced this movie called High Anxiety that came out in the late 70s. She also did a remake of her music video that she had made for this cover back in 2020, 2019. So it was pretty much like her on the bed singing into the mic, making the song by herself. And they showed her side by side, which was pretty cool. And then also she like did a nod to Michael Jackson's song Thriller as well. So I thought, that she included other references inside of the music video, but I thought it was a really nice touch, being that one, the song was already like a cover and sample, and just like going through those different moments, and like also building up the feeling of anxiety to just her doing all these different things at once. Great music video. Now, number four, Kendrick related things. And like I said, I'm gonna hop into that Drake versus UMG update. Now, as far as Kendrick, he continues to just have he's just continuing to have a great fucking time in his career, like he actually was just featured in a Gatorade commercial, and Gatorade typically only features athletes in their commercial. This was actually the first commercial with a music artist, and at first he's like narrating the commercial over like the athletes, and then he has a portion himself, and I thought that was pretty freaking cool. People were going crazy over it. And then also he kicked off his tour in Minnesota, and right before he performs Not Like Us, he does a skit. Now, throughout the night, they do like different skits, him and SZA, him by himself, to intro certain songs, which I thought was pretty cool. I try not to watch all of it though, because I'm like, I want some shock value once I decide to go and see it myself. But it just popping up on the timeline. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's talking about it. But as far as this part, that was pretty cool. With the skit that he did prior to Not Like Us, it's pretty much like him doing like the deposition, and it's like the cross-examination interview, and the attorney is like, trying to get into like, the things that's been going on. So the attorney's like, so, pretty much Sunday, February 9th. And he's like, I don't really keep up with dates. And Sunday, February 9th was Super Bowl. So, this is where we're at with the Drake UMG case too. They just recently just added in some things about the Super Bowl, which I'm about to dive into. But there, he's like, I don't keep up with dates. In the deposition, the attorney's like, does this ring a bell? And then brings in, when Drake was taunting Kendrick, telling him to, drop a response, drop your next diss track, whatever the case is. The deposition attorney's like, drop, drop, drop. And then he, kicks it off and performs Not Like Us. So I thought it was pretty fire. And like I said, I ain't gonna watch no more spoilers. All right. I'm trying my best to tune them out because I want to have that shock factor happen to me when I go and pull up. I'm like, oh shit, he did what now? Now, also some things that came out this week about Kendrick is that, and this is mixed in with number 4. Okay, can't count these. This is all together, right? So he actually, well, I should say, Punch did an interview recently where he talked about the making of Euphoria, and apparently the song was actually, he confirmed that the song was damn near 20 minutes long, and they were like, bro, you gotta chill, you gotta cut some of this out, you can't say all of this, like you really are going too far if you say all of this. So there's a version out there that we have not heard that's 20 minutes long. Some people say that's probably why he was stumbling over his words at the pop-out concert, because clearly he had a lot more to say. Here's what I say. I say, how about this? Throughout the course of the tour, you drop skits with, like, I don't know, let's say 2 to 4 bars, and you don't say nothing about it. Just random bars. Just put them wherever randomly. Make it like a little, like, brain scatter for us, right? And then we got to put it together to figure out the rest of the song. That's what how many dates we got? Man, there's enough dates to divvy up the rest of the song. So that way we can get an idea of the other evil shit you were saying to this nigga. Because I got to hear it. I know we all want to hear it. Well, Drake fans don't. But some of us do need to hear it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's been having a busy week. Tour, Gatorade commercial, dropped the Luther music video as well. What's actually funny about that is that the director of that music video, Karen Evans, she's actually from Toronto, and she actually worked with Drake on some of his biggest music videos, God's Plan, I'm Upset, Nice for What, and In My Feelings. So, you know, I thought that was interesting. But anyways, the video for Luther was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I love the, just like the fucking angles it was shot at, like everything about it. I think it was exactly what it needed to be. Now on to this Drake versus UMG, aka Drake versus Kendrick, if he really would just go directly at him. So the label. Now, I always like to put this little disclaimer in, because every now and then I gotta remind those that may be on the side of Drake. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all are. That's okay. It's okay if you thought he won. I don't think that at all. And if you think that, I may think that you need help, but we're not gonna go there today. It's fine, right? Now, I just want to say, me personally, I don't give a fuck about UMG. It's not about defending UMG at all. It's really just about Drake just doing this because he lost. It just feels like you're a sore loser, and like, you all here in your court documents, your lawyers are claiming you suffer from anxiety, you have been impacted financially and emotionally, you pretty much fear for your life. Like, all of these things is just like, really, bro? Like, if anybody else did this, y'all be calling him all types of, you know what I'm saying, all types of P words up in this bitch. But like, I just feel like all the talk about him being unbothered was cap. This is proving that, with his lawyer saying like, hey, my client has suffered, blah 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 blah. Now, he's being a hypocrite. You can't pick a battle and then throw your hands up and be like, bro, why did you punch me back? Like, no, that's not how it works. But whatever. To get into the actual updates that happened. So, um, one thing that the first thing that came out was that Drake's team was pretty much like how the Super Bowl halftime show was orchestrated to assassinate his character, and that, this was like their biggest halftime show ever. They confirmed it with their own words, and this was shown to over 133 million people, including children at home, and how this will be the first and last time that the Super Bowl ever does something that assassinates someone's character, just like Boo Hoo, crying over every moment that Kendrick has had since the releasing of this record. It's just pathetic. So then UMG, this was like April 17th. UMG claps back, and UMG is like, okay, be careful what you wish for. This guy, everybody stirred up. They say, oh shit, the label's threatening him in public record. Threatening, be careful what you wish for. Does that mean he got a death sentence? What you trying to say? Because we don't take those words lightly coming from labels. You know, labels are known for doing some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a fuck about the labels because I know they're fucked up at the end of the day. But it's just he's playing this card and he's pulling this. He's being real sneaky. You know what I'm saying? Like he know he's only doing this because he lost. Because if he won, you think he would be fucking giving the fuck about. Like if Drake dropped a better song than Not Like Us, right? Do you think he would care to sue? No, I don't think so at all. So whatever, right? So UMG is like, be careful what you wish for. UMG's legal team is calling out Drake's team, and they're like, yo, they were celebrating this win about the discovery motion that I told you about last episode, right? How pretty much, you know, they have a right to gain access into Kendrick's contract and all of the communication from the time the beef started, I guess last year into now, to make sure there wasn't any like unfairness or anything like that, right? And they're pretty much like, yeah, you were celebrating that, but really it'll be a loss if we expose what we've done for you too. That's essentially what they said. They were like, you will be subjected to discovery as well. And, you know, we've had a successful 16-year partnership. And, you know, it would be a shame that we would have to put everything out there, all that we've done for you, and maybe botting and, you know, all this different shit. So I'm like, damn, they like pretty much like, yeah, we've done some shit, but we've done it for you as well. Now, you know, of course, they just kept clapping back at each other, right? So Drake's team is like, "Oh, be careful what you wish for." Drake knows exactly what he asks for. He wants the truth and the accountability. He's doing this for the people. He's doing this for all the artists that have ever been taken advantage of, right? So he's like, they're like, you know, UMG is known for profiting off of artists and discarding them, which labels have been known to do this. And sometimes when they discard of them, it's not like, hey, your contract's done. People, there's conspiracies of, you know, they just end you. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny because I don't work there personally, but you know, they move on to pretty much say like, you know, pretty much how dare they say be careful what you wish for, this is what we're doing. And then they're accusing UMG of intentionally trying to devalue Drake's music because contract negotiations were coming up. His contract was coming to an end. They wanted to continue the partnership, but they were also working on, you know, bringing Kendrick on board. And when they brought Kendrick on board, they did a short term deal to like kind of prove to Kendrick like, hey, we can help add value to you, you know, financially. And we're going to do that by whatever means. That's pretty much what um Drake's lawyers are saying. Like they were down to do whatever it takes to prove to Kendrick that he needs to stay with them after the short term, like I guess trial error is done. I mean trial run is done, right? Now, you know, like I said, Drake's contract was pretty much about to end, and they just they really they playing ball right now. It sounds like both of them have made some great points in the last couple of updates. I do think them bringing in the fact that Drake's contract was about to come to an end does cause some like, hey, that's kind of suspicious kind of, you know, thoughts. But we gonna see how this pans out. Honestly, I think Kendrick still won regardless. I think the cultural impact is there in your face. It's not hiding. Like look at his tour is sold out. Look at the fact that kids, grandmas, everybody singing this fucking song. It's undeniable. And I've said it before, I say it again. But, on to things outside of Drake and Kendrick and TDE, number 6 on the list. Now, there's a lot of new music about to come out, right? There's going to be a lot of R&B music coming up, like I mentioned. Looking forward to that and diving into that. There's going to be just a whole sum of artists dropping. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people are inspired or motivated to drop and really get into their bag. Now, this too I thought was interesting. Gunna and Young Thug actually both announced that albums are on the way. Young Thug has been teeing up this, I think it's UI Scooty album that's dropping, and he dropped a cover art recently. It's available for pre-order. He dropped some merch, and he may drop on May 9th. People think so because that's also the 3-year anniversary of the date that he got locked up. So it'd be like, a nice like homage to like, yo, I'm out now. Fuck it, I'm dropping. I got some shit to get off my chest. But we don't know yet. And then, you know, he also dropped merch, and within that merch he actually dropped a shirt that is called What Would Brian Still Do. It has What Would Brian Still Do on it, or WWDS, whatever the hell. And I thought that shirt was interesting because what happened that week of him dropping that merch and the shirt is just like horrible timing. So if you don't know, now you know. Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer that helped him get out, will also now be a part of Diddy's criminal defense team. Now, I don't fuck with what Diddy did. I think he's fucking guilty. So I think it's very fucking it's just horrible that Young Thug decided to drop this shirt the same week, the same time that Brian Steele decides to take that side of town, take defense of Diddy. And honestly, when he posted up the photo of the T-shirt, people are in the comments like, "Oh, well, apparently he will defend Diddy." So I don't think he needs to sell that shirt. Honestly, honestly, you can't control what the lawyer's gonna do. The lawyers is gonna take the money and do what they gotta do and defend whoever they gotta defend. The guiltiest people on earth, if the means get into the bag. All right, but yeah, that was interesting. But Gunna announced too he's dropping, and he's been dropping singles here and there. I feel like he's been leading into like his more of his like female fan base, and just like doing the song for the ladies, for the women out there. And like he got the pretty girls all over the world. That song that's been on repeat for some. But I do think that is where he also needs to like rely on a little bit too, because those were the ones ladies was like, listen, I'm not a gangbanger. I don't care what he did to get out of jail. I'm still gonna love his music. So keep doing your thing, bruh. It's working. We're gonna see if they happens to drop around the same weekend. I don't know. We're gonna see who does better with the album sales, though. I know that for sure. For those of y'all that care about the numbers, I will compare for y'all. Now I'm gonna hop into the on repeat section. Now, on repeat, last episode I reviewed Lil Durk's album that had dropped, Deep Thoughts. Honestly, there's a couple songs on there that I really do like, and I've been playing it consistently. Can't Hide It with Janae Aiko. I said that was one of my favorite. Late Checkout with Honcho, and I want to make sure I'm not saying this wrong. And if I am, forgive me. Hamdulillah, that song, I really do like that song. That song was pretty fire. Another artist I song on repeat, K1. She's actually been consistently delivering. She worked with Kaylani. She was on tour with them. She did a Worst Behavior remix with Kehlani, and then the close off song that was on Kehlani's While We Wait 2 album. So Kehlani's been doing doing her thing, and the song that's actually been on repeat by her is called Do What I Say. So that's, I feel like she's definitely an artist to keep your eyes on. She's got an amazing voice and honestly killing it in the R&B category. Now, another album that I have on repeat, a little bit of Davido, honestly, and I'll get into that. It's called Five. I'll get into that in the review section, which I am about to hop into. Now, always got to remind y'all about the criteria for, projects. I say projects now because honestly it can consist of EPs, mixtapes, or albums, and the ratings are based off of the creativities, the bars, the features, the impact on me, impact on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm really looking for there. And then as I'm listening to the albums, I usually like to, whether it's an album, EP, whatever, mixtape, I like to listen to it twice. One time I'm taking my notes, the next time I'm straight vibing to it, and then each song I'm rating them 1, 2, 3. With that, I use like fire emojis on my notes so I know, keep track of them. But 1 would be mid, 2 would be good, 3 would be fire. It's likely on replay for me. Now at the end, I'll rate each album 1 through 10 with a letter grade to coincide with that. So, for example, 9 out of 10, that's a fucking A. I loved it. Now, to get into the review section, what y'all should listen to. Some things. I got R&B, hip hop, and Afrobeats for y'all, all right? Mixing it up a little bit. Now, the first 2 are EPs. Alex Isley, she dropped an EP called When. That is a quick one for y'all, 6 song, 18 minutes. And then I'll hop into Westside Gunn's project called The Hills Have Eyes. That one is another EP, 5 songs, quick one, 10 minutes. And then Davido dropped Five, his 5th studio album. So yeah, those are 3 projects that I have for y'all. It's going to be a nice quick one. I'm excited to just tell you about what I learned about like these different artists, and some of them I've listened to already, like Westside Gunn and Davido, but Alex Isley in particular, I've honestly never bumped her music before, and once I saw her last name, I'm like, Nepo baby? And yes, so she's actually the daughter of Ernie Isley from the Isley Brothers. And if y'all don't know them, one of their biggest hits is Shout. You make me want to shout. You know what I'm saying? That song. And Between the Sheets, which is famously sampled in hip hop. Biggie's song Big Papa actually used that song to, create a new vibe. So now, as far as Alex herself, she dropped this EP called When. It's 6 songs, 18 minutes. Dropped it on the Free Lunch Records in Warner. And she actually did a joint album back in 2023 called I Left My Heart in Ladera. She's from the West Coast. And on this EP, I feel like you're getting her vulnerable side. She taps into like that sensual side too. And honestly, even though she taps into that, it's not like super vulgar or anything like that. It's just very much like very poetic and metaphoric about like the things that she's saying, and it was a great listen. It was an easy listen, quick listen for sure. Yeah, I know I love them quick listens, but obviously not too quick, but it was just enough for an EP. Now, as far as the songs, the first track she kicks it off with "Holding On," and then she's like, will this love last? And she's gotta let go because what is she holding on to? Let me let go of the past. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't see what it is, but she knows she needs to move on. And then she has like this internal dialogue of like, well, what does it look like moving on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does life look like on the other end? So this EP is kind of like, it's called When. So I feel like it's kind of like talking through like just moving on in life and taking the next steps. And like, when do you do it? You kind of got to rip the fucking band-aid off, I guess. But I feel like, I really did love her voice. She has like a fairy angelic voice. And like, I'm looking forward to, like, just based off of that first song, I'm like, okay, okay, I was excited to hear what else she had to offer on this EP. Now the next song, oh, before I get into the next song, this song, Holding On, I gave this 2 out of 3. It's a very good song. And as I potentially revisit this project, I'll see if it's something that ends up on repeat. But I will definitely tell you, track 2, Miss Goody Two Shoes, that song, I really did like that. And on the song, she's like, to the world, I'm Miss Goody Two Shoes, but to you, what I'm saying, I'm doing everything. You know what I'm saying? She's everything. She's immaculate. You know what I'm saying? You lucky to be fucking with her. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much how she's on the song. But hey, don't say nothing. No. You know what I'm saying? This between you and her. That's what she's saying on the song. This song was actually one of the leading singles that she dropped prior to the release of this EP. It was a 3 out of 3 fire. We'll replay it. I loved it. Now, next track on here, track 3, is called Mic On. This was actually produced by K Tronada. And once I saw that it was produced by him, I was like, okay, okay, she using that nepotism, you know what I'm saying, collaborating with the people in the circle. This was one of her more upbeat vibes, and I feel like because Kate Tronada was the producer on it, that's where that upbeat vibes came from. But I feel like the rest of the project was more on that slower vibes. And on here, she's talking her shit. She's like, play around if you want. You gonna miss out on a one of a kind shorty. You know what I'm saying? And she's on like her mic. You know what I'm saying? Her mic is on because she's singing. You can hear the vocals. You know what I'm saying? She's singing for real. But you know what I'm saying? And she kind of gives her attempt at like serving bars too. She's like, ain't Maybelline. I was born with it. You ain't check my bloodline. I'm like, okay, Nepo baby. Okay, okay. You flaunting. And now, this song, honestly, I gave it a 2 out of 3. I feel like I said, I saw the influence of K Tronada with the upbeat vibes on it, but I feel like the production was okay from him. I feel like, what I'm saying, it could have, the song wasn't necessarily like something that went crazy compared to like the other songs that I've heard on this EP. Now, the next track on here, track 4, is called Hands. This was another single that came out prior. And on here, she's like, I've been traveling and I haven't felt that embrace. And, like, help her remember what it feels like. She's on her seductive, sultry vibes on here. Pull me into embrace with your hands. And, she's on her lover girl vibe. And she doesn't, like I said, she does a great job of like talking about, you know, that seductive side without getting like explicit. Like she delivers the message about what was going on in her mind without getting like that. And I feel like I do appreciate that touch too with R&B, because like it could either be downright like you doing too much. Like I don't need all them details. Like so I feel like that's what she did here, right? With that being said, I gave it like a 3 out of 3. Now, track 5 is called Fool's Gold. This was another great song by Alex. She's talking about like the failing relationship in here. She's like, she doesn't have any more left in her. And, a handful, she pretty much has a handful of Fool's Gold that she can't do anything with it. And that throughout the whole time, she feels like they were pretending that it was okay and it wasn't. She always knew it was over type shit. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? We wasting each other's time. And the song ends with the outro of a woman pretty much speaking like encouraging words and like, you gotta move, you gotta know your worth. You gotta know your worth and move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody play in your face. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the vibes. And then she closes out this EP. Oh, Fool's Gold, 3 out of 3. That song I fuck with. Now, then she closes out this EP with the song called Thank You for a Lovely Time. This honestly was like the kindest way someone could break up with you, I guess. This is like the farewell song. It's like a sweet ballad to deliver a breakup message. She's just like, why does she like why does she love you when you hardly see her for who she is? You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's like, something inside her wants to keep her loyal, but she knows that like you deserve nothing. Not you listening. Sorry if I've been throwing that at you, but like talking to her lover, like you don't deserve shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for a lovely time though. It was great. You know, while she's singing so gracefully on the track. You know what I'm saying? This song, I thought it was really great. 3 out of 3. And, with that, that's closing up the review of this EP. Honestly, a lot of it I realized she wrote solo, and her voice is like I said, it's very calming and angelic. Like she floats on the track, and like she sings answers, little bars in between, like how she did on Mic On. I love that she told a story throughout the EP, and she kind of like navigated the ups and downs of like, I want you, but I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? That internal struggle and of knowing that she needs better and deserves better. Like, it was given, if not now, then when? I guess that's why the EP is called When. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with it. This was her first project under this label, and I think just from what I got to hear here, I think she is on the right track. And listen, Nepo baby, use it to your advantage, okay? If it's gonna get you on the billboard 100, do what you gotta do. But yeah, beautiful project, Alex Isley. When now, as far as my ratings for this EP, duh, uh, now there's no features on here, so I can't give you the best feature. Usually I will say like any keep it songs. Everything made sense, honestly, all 6 of the songs. So there was nothing that I would take away from it. Best song, I would say Fool's Gold. I love like, how she was, talking about like, hey, like this love, like what is it? Like what are we holding on to? I feel like she really got into like the storytelling. Honestly, for Fool's Gold being the best song, it wasn't an easy decision, honestly, because I was debating between this and Hands. But yeah, it came down to Fool's Gold. And then if I give you my top 3, it'd be Fool's Gold, then Hands, and then Thank You for a Lovely Time. Like I said, that beautiful breakup song. And then the honorable mention will be Miss Goody Two Shoes. Honestly, this project is an A for me, 9 out of 10. Alex did her thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else she's gonna drop. I think now you got a fan, girl. I'm gonna stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. Now I'm gonna hop into some hip hop. Take y'all over to the East Coast, not just the East Coast, upstate. You know what I'm saying? That Buffalo vibe. You know what I'm saying? Westside Gunn 5-pack EP called not the Hills Have Eyes, called Hills Have Eyes, and it's 5 songs, 10 minutes. And he's been active. He showed up for Black Soprano Family. He dropped his own project earlier this year called 12. And then he also dropped Still Praying back in November. Now, as far as the track work itself, these 5 songs, it was a quick listen. The first track on here is called Fish Scale Friday, and this is an intro song. Pretty much, he doesn't hop in here. Yeah, it's really like a sample. Some oldies vibes on here, and it's a gentleman saying like, he's an awesome God, and then turns into a loop of the man saying like he is him. You know what I'm saying? He is him over and over. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. He about to come in here on some cocky shit. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely closed out this song with gunshots. His signature, Westside Gun. He's either making the sound himself with his mouth or inserting it in the beat. So on Einstein Kitchen, he comes in, you know what I'm saying? I'm on my scientific chemist shit in the kitchen. He's always talking about bricks and shit like that. And the beat was giving like boom bap, you know what I'm saying? And then also had like some high notes playing on the piano, and that helped like build the anticipation as he's about to start his verse. And then he comes in like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's that nigga, he's that Tarjay killer. He says Tarjay just like that. And I really did fuck with this song here. I feel like, this was actually like the intro song to kick it off. I gave this 3 out of 3. And then we move into Goro produced by Harry Fraud himself. And on here, Westside Gunn is pretty much like, free my niggas, you know what I'm saying? They got the same thing in them and me. The same thing that they did to get there, the same shit that I did to be where I'm at. Free them if you want to free me at this point. That's pretty much how he's on there. He's chatting about what he was doing, how he ran up in the spot. And honestly, the production on this is really fire. I thought this was a 3 out of 3 as well. Now, another track on here, track 4. It's called Davy Boy Smith. And he's like, everybody want to be the fly guy, aka him, and fuck these niggas, you know what I'm saying? He's talking his shit like, you know what I'm saying? He's also on there like, yo, the plug is showing him bricks on FaceTime and got him drooling. Like I said, he love moving them weight. He love moving that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's on his Buffalo antics, claiming to have the best work. And he towards the end of the song, he's like, yo, who else can make a tape in one night, you know what I'm saying, and drop that shit the next day? Like, and he's like, he don't even like to rap. He's not even a rapper. He's an artiste. You know what I'm saying? Call him an artiste because he's a specialist. He's a cultural curator. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's all this shit. And he's like, yo, your bitch and your kids, they gonna look up to me. Matter of fact, put my poster on their wall, like that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, Westside Gun always gonna pop his collar, puff his chest, all that shit. I thought this was 3 out of 3, and honestly, we get into the closing of the EP. Track 5 is called Egypt. It begins with speaking about the artist she's into. She's like, I'm a huge fan of MF Doom and I love Westside Gunn. And then he comes in like, they praying on his downfall, and like they ain't never had a Cullinan in the trenches. He's that guy. He be doing it all. And I thought this was a great outro song just to keep the vibes going with him talking his shit. This is another 3 out of 3. And if I'm just like summarizing the EP as a whole, it's called The Hills Have Eyes. And I feel like he was just like kind of going through the lens of like all the different shit that he's done. But overall, I would say the best song on here was Davy Boy Smith. And then my top 3 would be Davy Boy Smith, Goro, and Einstein Kitchen. There was no features on here. No Keep It songs really that I would say. Overall, I gave it a B, 8 out of 10. It was short and sweet. Maybe a feature would have made it nicer or stick out more. I feel like there were solid bars, of course, and he always gives that. The production was fire, but I feel like there, like, although like I'm like, hey, I could give this song like a fire rating, I don't really feel like I would replay it as much. But I'm gonna see how it grows on me over the next, course of the few weeks, and I'll let y'all know. So yeah, I would say it still stands at a B though. Like, I feel like he told the story, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he's always talking about his black boy movements essentially, and like it was good. It was good. It was a solid like EP. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I told y'all I got an album for y'all, right? Some Afro beats, hopping into some African music. I am a huge fan of the genre, and I'm not gonna say I'm an expert, but I do go out and seek information and want to learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Learn more as I like continue to explore my fandom within the genre, right? Now, Davido has always been on top of the charts when it comes to Afro beats and African music in general. Like, he just dropped his 5th album called Five. And this album has 17 songs on it. It's 49 minutes. And his last album was back in 2023 called Timeless. And like I said, Davido's always been like pretty much in the last few years, like kind of like the face of like Afro beats and African music. And one of the faces, there's Wizkid, of course, and Thames and all these other artists too that are making their way as well. But he is one that's just been on the up and up. Now, unfortunately, he did lose one of his sons back in 2022, and he was, he did come out of that, I guess as best as he could, trying to like put his best foot forward and still like show up as an artist. But that was a challenging loss to him because his son unfortunately had drowned. And he dropped Timeless after that situation had happened. I feel like he took this 2 years as the actual break, because that album was in the works prior to that. And then with this album Five, this is all about like freedom. It's about breaking barriers and like actually taking pride in the accomplishments that he's made within the genre. This is pretty much some of his own words, and just it's about uplifting others. And he was actually inspired by this famous African poet. Her name is, well, she goes by Alhan Islam. I hope I'm saying it right. Her name is also, her real name is Mariam Bukhar. And he was inspired by like her spoken word, which actually in track one he does include some of her spoken word to kick off the album. But before I get into that, you know he like I said, he's been like leading African music for the last few years, and Five is to like pretty much pay homage to African music as a whole. And it's beginning its recognition. It's been getting recognized on a global level, and like artists have been performing at festivals now. They've been selling out their own shows, and I think it's very much a lot for them to be proud of, you know what I'm saying? Because people often try to keep it in a box. And for the rollout, Davido was pretty active. He did magazine covers. He did a PlayStation ad. He also has been doing listening party. He was doing listening parties, and he did interviews. And then one of the interviews that I found, one of the interviews, he actually was speaking about just African music and how it's grown. And he spoke about just like how African music is now categorized as Afrobeats, but really Afrobeats slash African music is a combination of different genres, a mixture of piano, which is from like the South Africa region, Afro pop, there's Afro hip hop, there's Afro dance hall, which I feel like Molly with the Shake It to the Max is giving that vibe there. And they don't want to be limited to like one sound that people that are outsiders think it should sound like. They are going to do it all. Now, like I said, they're breaking barriers, and I feel like Five, this album, is a great mashup of like what they have to offer, not necessarily touching every single genre. He does a great job of weaving in just like how like great and diverse the sound can be. Now, to kick it off, Five, the first track on there, like I said, this is the spoken word from that famous African poet. Um, Mariam is pretty much like talking about the meaning of five, and like how five is like the rhythm of life. Five is freedom. All the good things that I told you, that, it should be about uplifting others and breaking barriers. And although this was not like really like a song, I thought this was a beautiful intro to just kick off, the album, and just give it the purpose and meaning to, so that way people can have that spoken word kind of soak in as they listen to the rest of it, right? This was 3 out of 3 for me. Then the next track is called Anything. On here, on here, I feel like he's giving like motivational vibes, and he's like, people are gonna talk their shit, but when you look at them, it's like, have you reached this goal? Have you reached this goal post? And he feels as though he can conquer anything, and he's still getting love from other girls from back whenever. But besides him bragging about that, just really much, very very much like a upbeat, like you should feel good, you could do anything, what I'm saying, kind of song. Now, this I gave 2 out of 3. And then the next song in here is called, track 3 is called Be There Still. This is one of his solo songs that I really enjoyed. I noticed the piano vibes immediately. Like I said, piano, that comes from more of the South African side of Africa. And he talked about like his strong love for South African music, which is why he decided to do this song. Now on this Be There Still, he's continuing to talk his shit. He's like, listen, he's making it. Wherever the money is, that's where he's at. Across the border, wherever it's at, he's destined to make it. He's gonna chase after the bag regardless. All right. That's what I got out of that. 3 out of 3 for me, honestly. It's one of the songs that I look forward to getting back to. Track 4 on here is called CFMF, and it stands for Can't Feel My Face. And this one here, he's like, he's living real large, because of Jesus, and loves everything that he's doing. Like, he can't feel his face. He's just turning up. He's having a good time. Like, he's thankful. He praises, his higher beings for just where he's been able to get to. This song, it was okay for me. I feel like I gave this a 1 out of 3 at first, but then when I listened to it again, I was like, I do love the vibes that it brings. Overall, I feel like the album gave you like, yeah, I want to get up and hear this outside and be moving around. But this one, I gave it a 2 out of 3. I ended with that rating. Now, the next song here, track 5, is called 10 Kilo. This one is for the ladies. He's like, the woman makes him feel special. He can't keep calm when he sees her. Like, what I'm saying, 10 Kilo, whatever the case is. Like, this was a 2 out of 3. And I feel like the album starts to pick up here when we get into track 6. This song, Off of Me, with Victoria Monet. This was actually teased on socials, and I had actually reposted it because I was like, oh, I love this. I love how it sounds. I love Victoria Monet. So when I heard them two linked up, I said, oh yeah, this is going to be a bop for sure. Now, the story behind this is that he actually met her last year at the 2024 Grammys when Victoria Monet was doing her thing and picking up some awards. And he said from that moment, he was like, yeah, we could definitely make a hit together. But yeah, this song, I definitely seeing it being played on radio for sure. I think it's going to be one of those popular songs off the album. And then before I roll into track 7, I would say this was 3 out of 3 on repeat for sure. I played it a few times before I even started speaking to y'all about it. All right. Now, track 7 is called Don't Know. This one, he's like, fuck all the clout. He needs some time alone to link up with the shawty. And, he don't know what she did. He don't know what she did to him. He just is obsessed. He wants to be around her. I feel like this also gave me Emo Piano vibes mixed with like a little bit of Afro pop. I feel like, yeah, this is where he starts to bring in a little bit of that merge too. Now this I gave 2 out of 3. And then we hop into another song with a feature. 2 features, I should say. It's called R&B with Shensia and 450. Now, Davido also mentioned that he has a great love for Caribbean music, so he wanted to, show some respect to that here. And a lot of people apparently in Africa love Shensia, and he's familiar with 450 and feel like because he's new, he wants to take the chance to really like show him the way within African music and expose him to like their culture and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Have people be exposed to 450, which 450 been killing it. I told y'all last episode he been on repeat. Whatever he drop is like fucking gold. So this track here is fucking fire. R&B. It's like, I want to give you that rhythm and blues, whatever the fuck. I think it's fire. 3 out of 3, honestly. Y'all gotta go listen to that. That was fire. Now track 9 on here is called Woke featuring YG Marley, another song that pays homage to Caribbean culture, collaborating with one of the Marleys. And on here, I really love the chorus, and he's like, I go run away from love, and things like that. And YG Marley comes in, and he's like, he honestly floats on the track. Honestly, I really feel like he really got into his sound on this track here, and it was a nice blend of like African music with the touch of his voice. Now, this I gave it 3 out of 3. Like I said, this is when the album is really like it's hitting. It's picked up. You know what I'm saying? He picked it up. Track 6, and he keeps carrying it down to the even into the next track. Track 10 is called Holy Water with Vic Tony and Musa Key. So he actually worked with Musa Key on his hit track Unavailable from his 2023 project. Unavailable is another song that when I heard that used to be on repeat for me from Davido as well. So if y'all haven't heard that, check it out. But yeah, he reconnected with Musa, and with this song he said this was like him tapping into like the younger generation by working with these two. And it's another track for the ladies. He's like, they're like, oh, she's so hot like fire, should they pour holy water on her to cool her down? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this was a great track. This was a 3 out of 3. Now we're hopping into track 11. He's back on his solo vibes. Like I said, he's keeping it up though. He's keeping up the temperature. He wants to keep y'all moving while y'all listen to this. You know what I'm saying? I was moving while I was listening to it. So I'm like, okay, okay, I can't stop bopping my head. Track 11 is called Nut Day. Now, apparently back home in Nigeria, that means like no problem, nuts and day, like no problem. You know what I'm saying? Everything is all right. Him and his guys is chilling. They living their life. Nothing can fuck up their vibe. Nut and day. This track, this solo vibe, 3 out of 3. I feel like he was just giving carefree. Honestly, I love that for him. Okay, now this one, track 12. Yeah, breezy lovers, y'all gonna love this one. It's called Titanium with just Chris Brown. Me personally, I'm not a breezy lover. I've spoken about it before. I'm not crazy over the dude because he's just a little problematic in my eyes. Talented, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. But like I said, for the breezy lovers, in case you're listening, this song y'all will like. I see this being like, honestly, I feel like it was more of like playing it safe with the. It's on the commercial end of things. Like I feel like it'll be played on the radio for sure. This is a 2 out of 3. It was a good song. I didn't say it was horrible. Listen, I still gave him his credit where it's due, right? It's a good song, but I feel like Chris Brown has made better songs within the Afrobeat genre. Like, he's not shy to this. He's not new to this at all. But I've heard better Afrobeats out of him before. All right, so now I'm getting into the last, 4 or 5 tracks of the album. Track 13 is called Lately. This is another solo hit by Davido. He's on here getting like emotional. This is more on the sad part. And he's like, he has to act like everything's okay, even when he has low moments. And although the song was sad, he tried to give like a little bit of an upbeat vibe, something that you can still like move to. And in here he's like, he's been through a lot of things lately, like pray for him. Like I mentioned before, he had lost his son not so long ago, so this was more of that, like, touching your heart kind of song. If this song was 3 out of 3, I think it was a beautiful song, beautiful solo song. And now on track 14 he gets back into his collaboration mode, and this one was a nice fuse of like Afro beats and Latin vibes. He collaborates with Becky G on here. Honestly, I think this one might be my favorite one. It's a lot of songs on here worth replaying, but this one I listened to it the most, actually, over Victoria Monet's feature. So I was very impressed. I was surprised too. That's why I was like, okay, Becky G, I know you be doing your thing, but I don't really listen to you like that. And then I heard it, I was like, damn, she really ate. They ate. Like I said, it's a beautiful mix of Afro beats and some Latin vibes on there, and like he's like, in your presence, in the presence of the finest, you know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, I just can't wait to hear this track in like the club or a party or something in here. Becky G does her thing. She comes in on the track like, Poppy Tech, 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 Tech. I'm like, oh shit, they're taking the charts with this one. I don't know, but this one was 3 out of 3 for me. I think it was an absolutely fire song. And then we hop into track 15. This one's called Funds, with Om Oduma Du Black and Chike. I hope I'm saying his name right. But this one was actually where Davido brings in some sampling vibes, and I didn't know this before this, but he's apparently not crazy over sampling. But they had actually sampled Brenda Fazzi's 90s hit, and honestly, I feel as though they did a great job with this one. These artists, they're all from different parts of Africa. So, with Davido being Nigerian, he brought in like that Yoruba, that Nigerian sauce. And then, they also wanted to merge in Odumo, and Chike's vibes too. So they brought in some of that South African and Igbo, I believe that's how you say it, vibe. And forgive me y'all if I'm saying it wrong. But like yeah, just a mixture of like the different regions of Africa in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was doing. And then the song, it's called Funds. He's talking to the ladies like, yo, I want to mismanage my funds for you. I just want to go crazy and blow a bag on you, essentially. This song, I gave it a 2 out of 3. Now we hop into track 16. It's called Lover Boy with Tay C and Daju. This was really good. Lover Boy, aka Fuck Boy. You know, Davido also is known for getting in trouble with the ladies, aka his wife, and whatever other ladies. But you know, he's like, you know, I'm the baddest boy. I got so many girls in my area code and all that nonsense. This was a vibe though. The song was really good. I gave it a 3 out of 3. And now we close it out with track 17. It's called With You with Omale. Now, Omale actually is one of the artists that I keep up with too. Omale was on the song called Infinity, and he has some hits himself that are absolutely fire. You should check it out. It's always worth a replay. But on With You with Omale, he's like, you know, they're talking to the ladies like he's your all night. He's hers all night, blah blah blah, and how his baby's too fine, no makeup, she's exquisite, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? This was a great closer. It was a 3 out of 3. Honestly, most of the songs on this album was a 3 out of 3 for me. It was an amazing album. It made me want to dance. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I can't wait to hear this in the outside world, in the outside setting. You know what I'm saying? Like he delivered what he intended to do, give a mixture of what Afrobeats, what African music is, while merging with other cultures. I mean, it was beautifully executed. Now, as far as the best features, I really had a hard time choosing. I think after careful decision, because I had Tech, Loverboy, R&B, and Off of Me on here, I decided to go with Tech with Becky G because I can't get it out of my head. I fuck with that song. That shit is fire. That's the best feature on there. A Keep It song, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I had 10 Kilo on here, but after hearing it again, I gave it a 1, but now I feel like it's worth, instead of being mid, it's a good song. So I'm not gonna put a Keep It song here. Honestly, I think these 17 songs are really great. Even the one with Chris Brown is okay. I guess it could stay on there. I'm not gonna remove it. But the best solo song, Be There Still. He did his thing on there. I love that. And then my top 5, I couldn't choose 3. I had to choose 5. Tech with Becky G, Be There Still, Lover Boy with Tay-C and Daju, R&B with Shensia and 450, and then Off of Me with Victoria Monet. I thought that was going to be my favorite song when I heard the preview, but hearing the rest of the project, I'm like, yo, he just did a fucking great job, and that's why I'm giving it an A, 9 out of 10, damn near a 9.5. I ain't giving it a 10 out of 10, but damn near a 10 out of 10. I ain't gonna lie. This was an amazing album, honestly. Davido did his thing on 5. And if he keeps doing this, he's going to remain top of the chart. You know what I'm saying? But I can't wait to see how this develops over like the summer. I want to see how it it's played out. You know what I'm saying? I think this is definitely gonna have some bops on repeat in the parties, on the radio, all that. And you know, I'll let y'all know what I hear and what I see. But yeah, those were my 3 reviews. I hope y'all enjoy hearing me talk through different genres, R&B. There's more to come soon on that, so stay tuned. We got Coco Jones coming, Destin Conrad, a bunch of people coming up soon. So you know, I'm trying to sprinkle that in more. Hip hop is always there, of course, and then you know I'm testing it out with the Afro beats, and I, of course, am gonna show my love to my reggae, dancehall, all that good stuff. So more to come soon. Y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe, follow and download on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you follow the Culture Decides on everything, wherever you like to keep up on socials. There's so much more to come soon, but you know, thank you all for listening. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great week, great rest of your day. Whenever you listening to this, great night, great morning.